Welcome to Podcast 83, a regular look at the news, stories, and trends related to Michigan's 83 counties from the Michigan Association of Counties.
Welcome to Podcast 83, the podcast put on by the Michigan Association of Counties. I'm your host for today, Samantha Gibson, Government Affairs Specialist here at MAC, and we have a very special guest, Michael Healander, President and CEO of Airspace Link. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really looking forward to this episode. I'll turn it over to you, Michael. Introduce yourself, tell us about Airspace Link and how we ended up here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're a startup in downtown Detroit. We're in the book depository building and new lab next to Michigan Central. We headquartered here about 5 years ago. Me, my wife, and another co-founder started the company, and today we're 50 people helping manage the airspace in the United States. So we're Airspace Link, and our job is to safely integrate drones into the national airspace and into our communities at scale across the U.S.
Wonderful. So with the drone safety or provisions that you guys handle, walk me through how does that interface with county governments? What is the service that you all could provide to a county government?
Yeah, so at Airspace, like our primary focus is government agencies. Even though we have hundreds of thousands of commercial operators that use our system, think of us as the systems to support who's flying safety and security of our airspace. From a county standpoint, and I can drive in what it means to the federal level, to the DoD, to the cities. But at the county is in a unique situation. I'll give an example. Oakland County, in their drone program, drones as a first responder, they have the capabilities to have drones go out in an emergency, support search and rescue, and a very successful program. What's happening now is companies, large big box retailers are starting to deploy package delivery in Oakland County. Started a couple of weeks ago, and now the sheriff's department at the county level need to know whose drone is that. And also Amazon needs to know, it's Amazon, it's public information, needs to know where the sheriff's department is flying drones so that they don't run into each other. So it's called UTM, Uncrewed Air Traffic Management System. And this is where counties need to start to have systems to be able to communicate with commercial operators, but also support their county operations.
Does the same apply, let's say a city within a county, we're utilizing Airspace Link and then the county wanted to join in as well? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I use county as an example, and I can name names. Wayne County as another example. A lot of the cities are on, from Detroit, Romulus, Livonia, have our system to help manage their drone operations at the city level and also secure their airspace for large events, understanding who's flying where, what, and when. They have those systems. But we are seeing the county start to look at, well, how can we, in the sense of Wayne County, get all our cities prepared and all connect our systems together? Because a drone flies across city lines in seconds from one city to another, and operations are happening across city and county lines as well. So we're seeing some counties start to say, here's a common network and platform that maybe we push down to our cities. And this is a really great opportunity for counties to take the lead, to be able to put it in a common system. And again, some cities can't afford a full platform where maybe they just connect into the county's network and be able to fly their own drones as a first responder and support package delivery companies flying through their cities at the county level would be ideal.
So I didn't realize how quickly the drones were moving. When you say through a city in a matter of seconds, so let's say a county is utilizing Airspace Link, you're kind of supervising that drone height in the sky, if you will, and an unidentified or unknown drone is going through and they're moving at that pace, and it's not, I'll say, the drone isn't welcome, let's say, in that airspace.
Yeah.
What then does Airspace Link do? How do you notify? And then what does the follow-up look like?
Yeah, so let me give you a few examples. One is on the highest level that we work with the Air Force. And so we're actually seeing drones come from outside the border too, in those bordering counties, and coming, that's NORAD. And then it goes to DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And then it goes to public safety. and that could be state police, county sheriffs, or local government police. It is getting very interesting. So we are helping deploy these systems, and we actually have one running in Romulus and with all the FIFA cities too, integrating all those communities together. But in Romulus, they're sharing their drone detection data with the airport and with TSA and Department of Homeland Security. So they're starting to share the data, not just between city and county, but between different agencies and multiple jurisdictions. So yes, we do some handoffs through shared connections. And sometimes it's just a blank area. If it goes outside your city limits, it's a little bit out of your control, or county limits. But it sure is nice for mutual aid, for communities to come together or counties to come together and plug into a common system quickly to help manage, a large event.
That leads me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is the regulatory framework in this space. So you mentioned the FAA, TSA, Department of Homeland Security. It seems like there's all these different government entities that have some level of oversight. And then kind of at the bottom layer there is state and local public safety. Are there regulatory hurdles that need to be addressed that would alleviate some industry concerns in your space, or what is your guys' next goal in alleviating that?
Yeah, so our goal right now is to harmonize everything. Just like we drive cars, we have roads, speed limits, guardrails, and we have enforcement. Have a way to identify a license plate, registration, all that. The same thing is happening through 2 executive orders. One is to open up the airspace to support advanced drone operations. The second one is to secure our airspace. They actually go together. It's the same system. If a commercial operator is going to fly, we need to make sure the communities have the tools to understand who that is. So there is a lot happening. We were in DC last week. I'm flying to Atlanta tomorrow to meet with the city and the state. All those FIFA cities, this will be setting kind of that new precedent. It will get into counter UAS. It already is. So we're working with some communities that are going to be allowed to actually take down the drones. So this is a first. It's always been the FAA manages the airspace, and they do. And we support that through our regulatory platform. But when a drone looks like it may cause harm, we can't wait for the federal government or the FBI to show up, or whoever's approved to take down that drone. There is now a framework in place where there's a waiting list, but public safety can now go through training to actually use counter drone systems, and that is, a wiretapping and be able to take over the drone. And then there's kinetic, which is there's a drone that can fly up to 120 miles an hour and net a drone over a crowd quickly. So this is all FIFA's kind of setting the framework for that, because it's going to be in 200 days. I forget how many, we have a countdown to when we have to have all these systems deployed, and they're going to be flying drones, but they're also going to be approved to take down drones. The FBI is only one today, but that is changing through specific training that we can get our county sheriff's department into, but it is a 6-month waiting list already to be able to do that. And there'll be more supporting funds for this.
Very good. So those funds, I assume, are looming at the federal level, and then local law enforcement agencies are eligible to apply for them.
Yeah, so today is due on December 5th is $250 million for the 11 cities to apply quickly, and that's coming through FEMA. So it's moving very quickly. We're not sleeping much right now, because we are working with Kansas City and Atlanta and New York City, and we're working not just with the fire, the police, the county, the state, the FIFA task force, and we're getting them all organized to make sure, hey, everyone, we need to be connecting everything as a common platform. So that $250 million is coming and will be deployed in the next 2 months, because it's available now. You can actually get reimbursed. There's another $250 million coming behind that. That will be for other state and local governments, like the state of Michigan. And the qualifications will probably be a little bit different. We do know that a lot of qualifications today, the more large events you have in your community, the more money you can apply for. I don't know if that's going to be the same for the next tranche. We'll learn more as it's coming. And then we're hearing of another $1 billion coming down as well. So there's funding. And there are some cities that are just buying the systems today because they need this platforms to help them today, and then hopefully they'll get reimbursed in the future.
These are very large dollar amounts in available funding, and it seems like, at least from my perspective, and I'm naive to this industry, that we're pretty early in the process of local governments being able to have this funding from the federal government. So round one, we're talking 250 million. There's a subsequent 250, and then sounds like later a potential $1 billion. It sounds like that this is a priority of the Trump administration to get, major cities on board to begin with, and then later the rest of the country. What is your, if you had a crystal ball, where do you see, how far into the future do you anticipate this being mainstream, if you will?
Well, we are, so as we work with these big box retailers and package delivery, they are actually coming alongside us in those FIFA cities too, because they need access to that same data to help support their tactical beyond visual line of sight. The cities have to have a compatible system because they're being blocked in a few cities right now in counties because they're not ready. We're seeing it happening here in Michigan. There's a commercial company wants to fly, but they don't have the tools to have a license plate reader of drones. They don't have those tools yet. So those two executive orders, they had a 240-day process to be completed. That would put us in the Q2 of next year, that all the rule regulations, everything should be set in place. Doesn't mean it happens overnight, but at least all the rules and regulations will be finalized. It's in draft right now. And then that will push down. So with the speed that we're seeing, the safety systems that are required, and then the speed that commercial wants to come behind it and even pay for accessing some of that network data, we're looking at 2 years, 24 months, and you'll see it scale. I'll tell you what, you will see there's another facility opening up, package delivery. Again, Pontiac is first one in Oakland County with Amazon, and they're having a community engagement event on soon. And then they're also deploying in several other cities within the next few months in Michigan. So
Wow.
it is happening quickly. And believe it or not, Michigan is well positioned because of some of the advanced aerial mobility fundings that they had to help set up the systems, so, which is starting to attract commercial companies to come here because some of the counties are ready.
That is, 24 months is a really quick turnaround. So I think
it's going to be in pockets. It'll be pockets of the state that are prepared. And we are talking with some of those pockets, even up in Traverse City with Munson Health to do medical delivery. We have some that are looking at doing precision agriculture systems and air tractors that are using drones. So it's not just package, it's drones as a first responder. So it's actually different pockets for different use cases based on the population and what's the industry there. And in Wayne County, they're doing parts delivery because the drones are doing parts delivery actually for a bike company. It's making assembling bikes, and they're building the parts, and the drones are shipping them to the assembly plant.
It's interesting that you mentioned the public safety first responder use of drones. That's something we've talked about on an earlier podcast. We had the Drone Association on, and we had discussed the use of drones for delivery of blood to the scene of an accident, right? Before, if you're a ways away from a hospital, the use that the drone itself can have. And I'm hearing the Airspace Link can provide sounds like an added layer of protection. If you want to use your airspace for those public safety uses, you guys can have an oversight, if you will, of that airspace.
Yeah, so I love the blood delivery one because we're supporting that down in Louisiana. But it's also making sure that if there's an emergency, that volume of air, that flight plan, takes precedent over someone else's flight plan. It's almost like turning on the sirens in the airspace, and that's what airspace helps do, is make sure that we prioritize the flights when it starts to get busy, and usually that is if there's a blood delivery, and that's something personal for our company. My co-founder was badly injured about 8 months ago, and wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for a helicopter having to meet him and his wife on the side of a road to get him blood. And if that helicopter wouldn't have been available, yeah, he would not be here today. So that's an example that now we can get more blood to more people. And that is a big issue with crash victims, is blood is one of the first things you need. And usually only helicopters carry that. They don't carry those on certain vehicles. So they have to be stored and managed. So I'm excited about that one, is to be able to, especially rural areas where you can just launch a drone and just have blood on scene immediately to take care of someone. There's other use cases in EpiPens and swiftwater rescue, but those are exciting ones that I want to see up and running as soon as we can.
I would agree. That is certainly the most exciting and promising use case, in my opinion, especially for our Northern Michigan UP folks that are grappling with this now. We have a shortage of first responders to begin with. What happens when these incidents occur and there does need to be blood at the scene of an accident, or an EpiPen or whatever it is, right? Whatever you listed.
Defibrillator, like,
Yes.
if we get 3 feet of snow up there and you can launch a defibrillator out, 10 miles out into the woods. Here's the thing, the drones can do it. That's and that's why I started the company. I knew drones can do work. They can do all kinds of but the regulatory and the safety systems I knew was going to be very hard to coordinate with cities, counties, FAA, Department of Defense. We had to integrate too, because they want to know what's happening in the airspace and vice versa. They're trying to fly in their own drones for use cases. So we've had to integrate all of them into this massive data exchange. And it's a nice public-private partnership we have with the FAA, enabling us to do that and kind of be that neutral platform. Since we don't fly drones, we don't build them. We're really just a county can plug in, a city can plug in, the public safety, a retailer, a utility company plugs into our platform to do utility inspections. And that's our job, is to make sure that everyone's coordinating through this common system.
The vast uses that are coming with drones, and it seems like we're really on the precipice of this, as you said, getting to scale, right? 24 months is a quick timeline, and I'm looking forward to seeing what especially our rural folks can do with drone technology and the service that Airspace Links provides into the future. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. I could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope our listeners did as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Podcast 83.